College tuition is on the rise across the country, particularly in Utah, where over the last 10 years, undergraduate in-state tuition rates have more than doubled. This year, one student at the University of Utah said enough was enough and staged his own silent protest. Luq Mughal decided he was going to pay his tuition in a very unique way. And he joins us now to tell us more. We did reach out to the University of Utah for comment, and they provided us with the following statement based on your protest, which we'll hear about in a moment. A college education is a significant investment, and we recognize the financial impact of tuition on our students. That is why the University of Utah is doing everything possible to keep costs down. Tuition, competitive, and scholarship and financial opportunities readily available. That's from Maria O'Mara. She's the Director of Communications at the University of Utah. Tell us, how exactly did you pay those tuition bills?
Well, I paid my tuition in ones this semester, and a big reason for that was last semester I actually wasn't able to afford my tuition. My tuition, I'm fortunate enough to get a pretty good scholarship through my parent being a faculty member. And but even that being said, it was still very expensive. So I spent all of last semester working just to save up that money. And so I thought it'd be a good idea to pay that in one so I can really see how much tuition really costs these days.
And how much in inches does tuition cost these days?
Well, in inches, it's about MacBook Pro or MacBook Air and 4 inches thick of dollar bills. I mean, it's a pretty hefty suitcase. You don't see more money in a suitcase, more money than that in a suitcase, unless you're watching some fiction movies.
So then why dollars? Why not, say, quarters or dimes if you really wanted to sock it to the people who are charging you so much money?
Well, quarters or dimes, you don't really, I don't think you really see the value of that. I mean, dollars, it's still cash, and it looks like a lot of money. It makes people realize how much money that really is.
So when you showed up with your, 8.58 inches, I believe is the exact number of money stacked high in dollar bills, what was the response?
Well, students around me in waiting in line, they were pretty surprised. There wasn't too much surprise at the window, but there was a little bit of surprise from the press. I got a few interviews in, and I myself, I was really surprised. There's a lot of fellow students and people I knew that were very supportive of that movement to kind of fight tuition.
Now these were $2,000 bills, right? So that's not that much money in the grand scheme of things. So if people who were paying full tuition at the university showed up and did what you did, do you think that would make a big impact not only on people looking from afar, but on administrators who are considering what they're going to be charging people next year?
Well, I really hope so. I mean, I have a close friend. He had to pay all $4,000 of his tuition in cash, and unfortunately, he did that before we came up with this idea. But you were saying $2,000 isn't very much. I was talking, one of the news reporters I was talking to, they said their tuition when they were going to school was $185.
Wow. Wow, $185.
Yeah. Now, to me, I wish my tuition was that much. Tuition for everyone should be that much. I paid more than that for a 1 credit hour class book. Just the book alone was more than that. And I think this is really appalling that we've let our education fall to this level where only the privileged can go to school.
Now, what is this going to mean for you moving forward? Is this your last tuition payment?
It is not. I've still got a long time to go. Based on the results of this last payment and all the support I've gotten, there very well may be a lot more people lining up at the door paying in dollar bills or change.
So how many banks, Luq, did you ultimately have to go to collect these $1 bills? And will you be servicing those banks again?
I will. I think they're going to know me on a personal basis if my bank doesn't run out. I had to go to 3 banks to collect all of this. And I'm glad I did that, because all of that money I had to work very hard for. And that, when you hold it in your hand, you really feel a difference.
Have you gotten any backlash whatsoever? I imagine you're a hero on campus, but is anyone looking at you saying, this is a madman, it's $2,000, he's on good tuition, what's going on here?
There's certainly a lot of people saying that, and I'm sure in households today there's people talking about it, saying, you know what, like, when I had to pay my tuition, I paid it all, I didn't complain, and all sorts of stuff. However, most of those people saying that, I looked online, I looked at some of the reviews, most of the people saying that are from a decade ago or longer, and what they don't realize is it's more than doubled in the last decade. It's going to continue doing so. Tuition and minimum wage pay that students often end up having to work for aren't lining up. It's no longer possible for a student to work minimum wage pay and pay his tuition, and I think that's just a travesty.
Now, the tuition hike, I hear, was to make salaries for employees a little bit higher. Now, your dad is a faculty member at the university. Did he say, son, you're lucky I have tenure here, if he does have tenure, or else I wouldn't be happy with the stunt you're pulling?
Well, he actually doesn't, and he's still very supportive, and he still agrees that a lot of faculty is getting paid a lot more money than they need to be. I mean, it's no secret what the University of Utah employees are making. Anybody can go online. They can check it out. It's a Utah law or it's U.S. law. You can see how much all of the university employees are making. If you check that out, you'll see our football coach making $2 million a year and several other professors making well into the millions. And I think that's a little bit too much. I mean, we should be putting that money into high schools and into undergraduate tuition.
Well, Luq, I want to thank you for joining us, and I want to see a picture of the next stack of cash that you supply to your school's bursar, all right?
Thank you.
All right, and please do keep watching HuffPost Live.